Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, Sunday edition, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Shorts Guy from the highest point of New Jersey with the bird's eye view, Beer Baron, and from the Michael J. Fox Studios in Beverly Hills, California, we got Scotty of Sirius XM Liquid Metal, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. As Fitzy is not messing around, Devils bringing in size. It's not even July 1st, Canada Day, Free Agent Frenzy. Hello, everyone filing in. I'm loving the move so far.
Yeah.
Brady Tkachuk. All right, got it out of my system.
There you go. Hey, it's about time you mentioned Brady Tkachuk.
Right off the bat. Hey, Max Domi signs with the Leafs on a 4-year deal. Max Domi.
He's definitely, on the radar. I mean, the news is out there that, the Senators have made him very quietly available, and there are a couple teams that are going to be in on it. And we know of the family connections between Fitzy and the Tkachuks. So, the Devils also have the pieces to go ahead and get that done. So
plus they have the wife home field advantage as well.
Let's leave that out of the equation.
No comment from Beer Baron.
Yeah,
no comment from Beer Baron.
She loves her home state. She's a big fan of the old Garden State. That's what I heard. And I'm sticking to it.
Who isn't a fan of the Garden State?
Yeah.
Oh man, I have. I'm gonna read this list, but go on.
We had a really great draft yesterday, and at Friday and Saturday, and the Devils. I'm glad that obviously Tom Fitzgerald is listening to this podcast. And he was paying attention to the playoffs, because we have said it a gajillion times here already that, and every Devils fan has said it, that the Devils a little soft, a little soft out there. And if you want to compete in the playoffs, you got to get tough. You got to be able to lay some hits. You got to be able to take some hits. You got to be able to forecheck. And you got to really be able to grind it out. And we know that team that the Devils had instances where it didn't really seem like that was happening. But Fitzy went out there and he drafted just size after size after size. And let me tell you, this kid, Anton Silyev.
Yeah, this is always a fun time of year. We have no idea.
A train.
6'7".
He's going to be the
17.
Yeah, he'll take over for Volchenkov. But this kid has the makings of someone who could be what many of us thought Kevin Ball and Nikita Holtz were going to be. I mean, this kid is a monster already. And he is just going to start freight training people once he does make it to the NHL. Now, here's the thing, of course, with every Russian prospect who is already signed to the KHL, he's got 2 years left over there. We've seen it before with Mohamedulin, or however the hell you say his name. I don't know. I think it's changed
Mohamedulin, you're right.
40 or 50 times now. We've seen this where sometimes the Russian players, it takes them a little while to get over here. Sometimes they don't want to come over here. But we've also seen others where the contract just gets voided. And all of a sudden, poof, they're here in the NHL. So we don't know exactly how that's going to go, but this kid is going to be a great fit for this team. Like 100% what they exactly need on that defensive side. He is going to freight train people. He is going to provide that grit, that toughness. He's not going to be afraid to drop the gloves. And what a steal at the 10th overall pick. Where everyone was saying, trade it away. I think Fitzy made the right move and sticking around and grabbing this kid.
Well, projected originally by a lot of people at top 5. So
Yeah.
a great find at 10, and
That's a great fall.
brings size, and just adding another piece to this cupboard of defensemen that the Devils have seemed to covet for quite some time, and rightfully so, because good defensemen are hard to come by. So you got a kid who's 17 years old, has been playing in the KHL. He had 10 points last year. He's not going to be putting up a monster amount of numbers. He's not going to be a Luke Hughes or a Nemec where he's going to be scoring a ton. Defensively sound, physical, like you said. But it's 17. So he's like you said, 2 years. He has a 2-year contract with the KHL. We might not see him for 3 to 4, but either way, this kid is going to be an absolute monster.
And that's a good thing that we're not going to see him for a few years, because we saw what happened this past season. When you see defensemen too early, it doesn't always work out the best for your team. So not seeing this kid for, 3-4 years is actually what we want. We really want him to develop. We want him to grow into his body, because, he looked like a very skinny 6'7". So we want him to fill out.
But he's only 17.
I know he's only 17, so he's got plenty to grow.
Oh, he's going to grow.
Oh, I know. And that's the best part. So, let him grow, let him develop, bring him in when it's the right time, not like this past season when it was, bringing everyone and anyone in to help fill the holes. But yeah, that was a great pick. And what a concept. A defensive defenseman is what we drafted. A defensive defenseman.
And you hear who he's being compared to a lot. Now, obviously, this says a lot. A lot here. Yes. A Victor Hedman, a Nicholas Lidstrom. Because this kid not only is a monster, he can skate. And he can
mobile defensive defenseman.
And that's for what people don't understand is, guys, after you hit a certain height, like, it's not easy to skate the way that kid skates too.
No.
That is a huge, huge attribute. And I mean, to be strong on your feet, to be strong on your blades. I mean, this kid's got all the intangibles. And once again, it was a pick that there's a lot of other guys that, we were talking about on the the draft show with the Hot Pod guys. We were talking about there's a few other names that were popping up that a lot of people wanted the Devils to take. They took this name. It was kind of a shock to a lot of people, but I know it wasn't a shock to their scouting department, who seemed to have a nose for these defensemen. I mean, even Mohamed Doolin, when he was drafted, he was one of those, like, who the hell is this? And I remember Nick Villano, famously saying, like, they just drafted who? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy? Right. And Nick is a guy who knows, right? So Mohamed Doolin is starting to shape into a pretty damn good defenseman. Same thing, big size, all the intangibles. They referred to this kid as being the unicorn of the draft. Now, let's see how it pans out. I mean, right now on paper, it looks great. And by the way, breaking news, Jake Etzel just agreed to a 7-year deal with the Tampa Bay Lightning. His rights were traded to Tampa Bay from Carolina earlier today. And it looks like they're still not finalized, but they're at the point where it seems like it's close enough to call it. So things are starting to fall into place already.
Yeah, you're going to start to see these with the guys that had their rights traded for and everything like that. Tanev, Gunsel. You're gonna see him start kind of dropping here, obviously before midnight tonight hits, when the old bargaining, the exclusive bargaining time frame there kind of goes away. Yes, Mr. Wu.
I just want to make a point, getting back to the draft, with that first overall. I'm sorry, not first. The 10th overall pick, Devils got. Matt, a good friend of the podcast, pointed out something about the demeanor of Fitzy, David Blitzer when they went up on stage. Normally, it's everybody's smiling, everyone's shaking hands. They looked pissed off and focused. Did you guys notice that? It was a little bit different vibe than we're normally used to. They're like, everyone's hugging. Like, they had a serious look to their face, and I actually went to the replay on that.
Mm-hmm.
He was right. Like, they looked really focused, or was it a deal that didn't get done, but they were satisfied with his – Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it could have been.
But they looked focused, and that's what I want to see. I don't want anybody horsing around.
They,
the
owner did the owner did get scolded for his outfit by the commissioner. So we'll skip right over.
Did he really?
That's fine with me.
There
you know
go.
what? As long as you pick somebody good, I don't care what you're going to wear.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
What they're wearing?
Yeah.
Thanks,
screw
Buckman.
the commissioner.
We don't need anything from him ever again. So,
and the first round was fantastic, and to kind of go back into the draft, like Sammy was saying. Sorry, Scotty, I'd see you're about to either kiss somebody or you're about to say something else. So
was gonna say something. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
No, I mean I'm gonna move into the next pick. So,
well,
if you wanted to say something about the A trade,
that was about the trade that acquired the second pick. So John Marino gets sent away, and we get a second round pick out of it. And it was it's sad to see John Marino go. I know Sam is extremely sad. You want to tell everybody about your purchase there, Sam?
Yeah. It still hasn't arrived yet. It's typical. I buy a player's jersey and they're gone. So if you don't like anybody next season for the right price, I will buy their jersey, and you can see them gone 1 week or less, money back guaranteed.
There you go.
I was thinking about that today, Sam. That would be a great fundraiser for the podcast. Like, all right, who do you want gone?
Yeah.
Goes to the
just
highest
have
bidder.
Sam buy a jersey. Yeah.
Just have Sam buy a jersey.
Yeah. So go ahead, Scotty.
Probably a lot of there's probably a lot of Sergachev jerseys out there as that got bought.
Oh yeah, I saw stuff like that.
Yikes!
I saw posts like that. That's
Yikes!
for sure.
But no, going into the again, A Train, can't wait to see that kid, get to the NHL.
Yeah.
In the second round, I think everyone was a little bit shocked because we didn't know what was brewing on the back end. But the Devils picked a goalie.
Yes, they did.
Mikhail
Number
Yegorov,
one goalie.
Number one goalie ranked, according to NHL.com, in North America. And what a shocker. This kid is a monster, too. He's like 6'4", I think, or 6'5".
Yeah.
And, everyone was just like, because we got Poulter, we got Schmidt, we got Dawes, we got Allen here for a year, we got Markstrom for another. Like, no one put,
Markstrom
2 and 2 together here and was like, oh, maybe one of these goalies is going to get their butt shipped out of Dodge here in a little bit. And obviously we saw that afterwards. And of course, Yegorov was on a crappy teams there in Omaha. So maybe his numbers don't look so good, but this kid is the real deal as well.
I when I saw we drafted a goalie, I had some time. I did some reading up on him. It seems like he's, his size is a huge advantage to him, but he seems like he has just some refining on some of his skills that he has to do. So I think, with some professional coaching, if he comes and makes it into the system for next year, depending on what he does, I
think he's committed to. I think he's committed to playing somewhere in college.
And is he Russian or no? Is he Russian or no?
No,
I think he's.
Yes,
I think
he's
Russian, from the USHL.
Canadian.
He's in the US. No, he's in the USHL program.
But he's Russian born, isn't he?
I don't know if he was Russian born or he's just heritage.
So the USHL and the National Development Program are two totally different things.
Well,
he's playing for Omaha.
Yeah,
he's playing for Omaha. Omaha.
But yeah, he seems like he's got a lot of upsides.
Maybe we already have some kind of football call, bubbling up here. Because we all know John Marino's now not
that
here.
One's a little bit of a stretch. That one's a little bit of a stretch.
We're gonna have to find a new thing because there's a couple other things that might be brewing that we'll get to a little later. But he's USHL.
Yeah, and he seems like he has a lot of upside. He's just got to work on some skills. So we'll see. We'll see if he can.
What's his name?
All the analysis was that like the kid could do it if he develops right.
Is it Yegorov? All right, Yegorov. I thought it was Yegorov. Oh boy. No, there's there's another pretty obvious one that we can talk about.
You didn't let me do it, Beer Baron.
No, because it doesn't work. It's too much of a stretch. I didn't like it. You can't force feed that, man. It's just got to be natural. By the way, that wasn't the only goaltender that they drafted. They drafted a goaltender in the 5th round. I know we'll get to that, but that.
No, I mean, no. This is Vitti. Don't call me Paul Vitti. All right, Louis Vara. I don't know if that's right or not either, but
Luavara.
Luavara. Also, much like Yegorov, 6'4" monster. The Devils did not draft anyone under 6 foot this year.
No, they didn't. The average was like 6'3", because Kasper Pekarinen and Herman Traff are both 6'3", 6'4", around that area. And these are kids. These kids are young. These kids are young, and they're already 6'4". I mean,
Max Graham,
it's wild to me.
Max Graham, 6'3", 203, was once called the Swiss Army knife because he can score, dish the puck to dangerous areas, and not afraid to drop the gloves. And then this last kid that they took, also Matthias Miloski. Oh boy.
We're all gonna have to pay attention to the.
You know what you sound like? You sound like a substitute teacher right now.
Yeah.
Like that Key and Peele, where it's like,
hey,
Ron. Where's Brian? Where's Brian?
Hey, Ron.
Ron. Where's Ron? Ron, you there? But this is another kid too, Melovsky, that is a big physical kid that can forecheck. Like Fitzy went for it. I mean, he saw what was working with Herman Taff as well, like you were saying, 216 pound. Jeez, these kids are monsters. Monsters. And he was not messing around. He went in there, and I mean, just every single person is a beast, and this is what Fitzy's trying to build. No more of the small, tiny European fast. Ooh, let's go. No.
So I'm gonna punch you in the face. Give me the puck. I'm gonna punch you in the face.
We're gonna keep punching you in the face until you decide to stand up for yourself, much like the Florida Panthers did, all the way to winning the Stanley Cup.
But can I make an objection to that? And we talked about this on the podcast yesterday during the what a crazy week, by the way. The Stanley Cup Finals just ended. We just had the draft. We're gonna have free agency tomorrow. This just the schedule released on the 2nd. Like, this is a very fun,
That's
incredible
what I'm looking
week.
Forward to.
Yeah, and listen, we're gonna get to. There's so many more things to talk about in this episode. The Devils have already made some trades. We're already bringing in people. We're talking about monsters. We've already brought in a monster defenseman that we'll talk about, the new Covey 2.0 to the Devils. So we'll get into all that too. But this short transition of a season has just been so wild and crazy that I actually lost my train of thought. I don't even remember what the hell I was going to talk about. There's so much going on. My brain was just like, man.
You know what? I want to add something to that. The Florida Panthers were such badasses that not one
that's
team,
what I wanted to say.
One team congratulated them winning the Stanley Cup during the draft. Yeah, that's badass. I want that to be us.
I want that. I want that.
Well, that's because we were doing a podcast. That's why we didn't realize that first. But
I want that to be us. I want us to be that team that everybody hates. I want us to be able to beat everybody up, and then Jack Hughes be able to go and score at will.
Oh, we'll talk about it, Ted. We'll talk about it.
But one of the big things that happened during the draft, obviously first was the trade of John Marino, which I think you can see where Fitzy is going. I don't, John, we're going to miss you. We love you, buddy. Paul his pops was a great friend of the show.
Big time.
Came on numerous times. We wish him nothing but the best. Of course, he's reuniting with some of that front office from Utah that had worked with him when he was younger. player and stuff coming up in Pittsburgh. So not really a huge shock there. I don't think it was anything to do with John's defensive prowess. I just think Fitzy wanted to make
the value. The
value, but also I think Fitzy wanted to get bigger. He wanted to get more physical. And John Marino is a great value for a team because he's got a very team-friendly contract. And he's going to slot into that first line, second line D pair pretty quick there in Utah. And they are going to be good for it. And, we wish John nothing but the absolute best, for remainder of his career. And he's more than welcome to come on here anytime he wants.
Always.
And Hell's Bells, we'll even have Sam do a football call for him one time. Maybe the first time he scores in Utah.
No, I'm not doing them anymore. No.
Yeah, retire that shtick. It's done. Put a fork in it, Sam.
I think we gotta put Beer Baron on an actual script.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes. He's been muted.
Someone's been banned. Someone's been banned.
Then there was another trade that a lot of Devils fans, including myself at first, were left shaking their head at saying, "What the hell just happened?" And now that I've had some time to reflect and look at things with my Captain Hindsight glasses, I see exactly what was going on. But the Devils shipped out Akira Schmid and Alexander Holtz.
Yes.
The 7th overall pick in one of the deepest drafts of recent memory is gone from this team.
Yeah, can I say something really quick about the Akira Schmid part of that?
No. Sam muted
Akira
you.
Schmid,
Sam,
no, stop.
Sam, no. Sam, get rid of him, Sam. Get rid of him.
Akira Schmid was not given a qualifying offer, so he is a UFA. So he was not given a qualifying offer. So that kind of sucks. I mean, hey, and another player that we'll always be grateful for, because he did lead us back in in that huge comeback win in the playoffs, not last year but the year before against the Rangers. If he didn't step in and step up, the Devils would have gotten taken out of that series pretty quickly, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And so Akira Schmid will always have a place in our heart. Because
and then he promptly played himself out of the lineup, starting right in the next season.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
Alexander Holtz,
not going to work here.
I think Alexander Holtz. I know for me personally, I loved that kid's shot. Loved everything I saw about him in the scouting and everything like that. But obviously, the Devils coaching staff saw something they did not like. Obviously, a lot of other coaching staffs saw something that they did not like. Because when you go back, we heard that his name was being dangled around for Timo Meier. And who did the Sharks want? Fabian Zetterlund.
Mohamedouan. No, they wanted Mohamedouan over Holtz, from what I heard.
Well,
but either way.
That was already said.
Either way, he was not preferred. He was not preferred.
He was not preferred.
They offered Holtz, and they're like, no, we want Zetterlund. Yes, they wanted Mohamedouan no matter what. But they preferred Zetterlund over Holtz. And now you look at Team Sweden not too long ago. Where did Alexander Holtz start that process? I'll tell you, game 1, he was on the first line. You know where he was on game 2? Third line. Do you know where he was by game 3? Off the team.
Mm-hmm.
He got cut from his own national team. You know who wasn't? Fabian Zetterlund. He played the entire tournament.
Yeah.
And he did pretty good.
And he did. So at first I was like, what the hell? This is the worst trade in the history of the world. What's going on here? And now you look at it in a little bit more of a reflective, way, and you start seeing the writing on the wall a little bit more. Even Travis Green wasn't really giving him all the minutes in the world that everyone was hoping for. We know Lindy was like, nope. But now you look at it with hey man, even Team Sweden was like, we'd rather go with some of these local players instead of this kid who's in the NHL. That says a lot. That says a lot.
And Tom said we messed Holtz up. I don't think we messed Holtz up.
I don't know if we messed him up.
I think because look at how Jack flourished under Lindy Ruff, right? Look at Nico Hischier took a next step under Lindy Ruff. I think a lot of guys did. A lot of guys took that big step forward, but Holtz was a guy that everybody put a lot of faith into, and it sucks because if you go back to that draft, if you look at there's at least 5 guys behind him. Askarov, you could have gotten him. You could have gotten a few other guys that would have been great, but at the same time, when during that draft, all of us in this room, in this podcast,
I was pumped.
We're pumped.
We're excited.
Pumped.
Because on paper, the kid was like, he's got a rocket of a shot. He's going to be the answer to like that just absolute sniper, but he was one-dimensional. He was a slow skater when he came to the NHL. He just never developed the way that they hoped he developed. And it seems like maybe there's some kind of stuff going on behind the scene. Because if you remember last year, during the trade deadline, after the trade deadline ended, Fitz came out and somebody I think it was Novo asked him about like Holtz or something like that. And he shot the question down basically saying like, paraphrasing, but like the kid doesn't put in doesn't do the work that he needs to put in. And he's basically worthless. Like if you go back and you listen to the interview, I'm sure, like I said, I'm just paraphrasing, but the writing was on the wall that Fitz was even pissed off at him and just like this, he has no trade value. He has nothing. This kid is just a hole in the lineup. And listen, that kind of stuff happens. Yeah, it was a 7th overall pick, but guess what, man? There are guys that go higher. What was Pavel Zacha was a 6th round pick.
It was 6th, yeah.
Or no, 6th overall pick. I'm sorry, 6th overall pick. So sometimes you miss on them. Sometimes you get a Jesper Bratt in the 6th round or wherever he was drafted.
Yep.
And sometimes these kids develop way earlier than everyone else, and they peak. Some of these kids that get drafted high peak, and that may be the possibility with Holtz is he peaked and he got to where he got and he just got comfortable and he was just happy, at the doing well at the AHL level, which he did do well in Utica. But he just never could translate it into playing at the NHL level. And he just may not be an NHL player, and that's fine. Some players aren't. A lot of players aren't. We weren't. The 3 of us, the 4 of us were not NHL caliber players. Not everybody is. And if he's not putting in the work, then he's just – but you know what? It is what it is. Maybe he'll do well in Vegas, maybe a new situation. I hope he doesn't turn into a Pierre-Luc Dubois who has a ton of talent, but can't put it together.
Good luck cracking that lineup.
Yeah,
you can't crack the Devils lineup. You're going to crack the Knights. And I get it because, where was he going to play? Fitzy's obviously saying we need this bottom 6 to be, big bruisers, monsters, people that are tough to play against. Obviously, Holtz doesn't really fit into that category there. But you don't see him playing up in the top 6. What are you going to do with him? If they're gonna put him back to the AHL, he'll have to go through waivers. Bye. Someone will snag him.
Someone will snap him up. And they can do something with him.
And with his draft position too, even though he hasn't performed, he may command a little bit higher of a salary as well when it comes around. And right now, the Devils they're cutting salary because they're making room for some moves that we're going to be talking about here. We're going to transition to in a little bit. Yeah.
And I just saw a rumor that we'll discuss when we get there.
Yep.
About
Brady Tkachuk. Oh, sorry.
Not yet. But
Brady, don't call me Tom Tkachuk.
Then I will allow Sam. Allow Sam to bring back the football call. Brady, because it could be Brady to whoever, Brady to Hughes.
Yeah.
So I do want to bring up something about Cotter, who we brought in.
Yes.
If you look at last year's hit stats,
woo, baby,
number 17 in the league,
233, right?
Hits.
233.
Yeah. So that is great.
Which. If he
6'2",
if he was a Devil, by the way, if he was a Devil last year and he did that, he would have set a franchise record for hits with 233.
233. And you know what? He's only 24 years old.
When I saw that stat come across social media yesterday, I was like, "Ooh, okay, now I understand this trade." Because we commented a lot during the course of the playoffs of what the Panthers did, and they just hit. They hit, defensive hitting, offensive hit, like just hitting all over the place. And that was something that we needed last year. You know, it's.
But do you know what his cap hit is? It's under $1 million.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I know I've been talking a lot about Sam Bennett. This kid, listen, I'm not going to say he's Sam Bennett right now, but he has the potential to develop someone who plays just like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll take it.
Listen, I'll take it. He brings grit. He brings toughness. Is he going to score a ton of points? No, but he will put up some. He's not going to put up a ton, but he's going to put up some. You also
look at some of his highlights, though. He's got some.
I know. He's got mitts. He's got some. He's got some hands for sure. They don't call him hands because he's German. That's for sure. But that's one of my favorite phrases.
You used that
but
yesterday.
then also
hands land
yesterday.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'll throw that anytime I can get it. But the Devils have also acquired Jonathan Kovacevic. I'm going to mess up this name.
Kovacevic.
Kovacevic, who is also a gigantic defenseman at 6'4", I believe, and also about
6'5", 225.
6'5". Our average height must have jumped 6 inches over the last 48 hours.
Dude, at the next meet and greet, you're going to be like craning your neck. Yeah.
Hi. You're going to be looking up, shaking hands. Hey, you know what, though? Those guys have the height to be able to probably see a lot better in the upper rows of Giants Stadium at the outdoor
Yes.
games.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
When we're trekking to the top of Mount Everest over there again. into the death zone.
But
thanks, Sam.
So the Devils make those two trades. Actually, the Devils make those 3 seeds. The Devils make the trade with Marino to end up getting the second round pick. They trade away Mercer, Schmidt, and Holtz. And get so they make these 3 moves, but they also they qualified offers to Dawson Mercer, Nolan Foote, Hataka, Dawes, and Beckman. They did not obviously give qualifying offers to Cal Foote, McLeod, and Vukojevic. Yeah, those 2 are not shocking. Obviously, they're not going to be qualifying anyway.
Good
California. I hear they're playing for the California Penal League now, but that's
I think.
Unfortunately, they'll show up in the
Finland or something. I think he went to Finland. The last guy, what's Vukojevic or Vukojevic? I can't remember how you pronounce his name.
Vukojevic, or I forget. I can't. I
think it was Vukojevic.
So, for anybody out there, like, these guys can't pronounce names. No kidding. I'm a moron. All right, I get it. I understand. I can't.
For shapes and colors, you get it.
Together. Shapes and colors. I got it.
Shapes and colors.
Yeah.
Well,
hey,
now,
JS, thank you for getting that. Thank you for
now
pitching over in the California Penal League.
Now the Devils.
We wear caps and sleeves in this league, son. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I could sit here and quote that whole movie for the entire day.
Give him the heater, Ricky.
Forget about the curveball, Ricky. Give him the
heater. That's it. One goddamn hit. You can't say goddamn hit. It doesn't matter. No one's listening anyway.
Yeah.
But this moves us into free agency, which starts out tomorrow. The Devils now have $19 million in cap space.
Wow.
That
there's a rumor. There's a rumor that some of that is taken up already.
There is a rumor of that. There is a rumor of that. And you know how excited I'm going to be if it does come true that the Devils decide to sign Brett, don't call me Joe Pesci, because I'm going to be doing Endless My Cousin Vinny and Goodfellas.
Oh, man. Oh my God!
Hockey season.
Brett, what do I look like, a clown to you, Pesci? That was going to be mine.
That's funny guy, Pesci.
Well,
who by the way, 6'3", 206, 29 years old, 113 blocks last year. Pesci isn't a hit machine. But 113 blocks.
And we missed the block shots last year.
Yeah, and compared to...
And who do you used to play with in Carolina?
Is there a Dougie Hamilton?
Is there a certain
Douglas
offensive defenseman in New Jersey who he used to
Mm-hmm.
play with in Carolina?
Yeah, buddy.
What do you know?
Yeah, interesting.
What do you know? Interesting little factoid there.
And the current rumor that I have here from our buddy Schwim over at Hot Pod is that it's supposedly a done deal. Not going to say it's a done deal until we get the announcement tomorrow. But supposedly the Pesci deal is 5 years at 6.1. That's supposedly the deal. That's supposedly the deal.
And Chris in the YouTube group just kind of said the same thing here in 5.6 mil. That's not bad. Not bad.
No, it's not bad, and if it happens, it's great. It's again we're bringing in a seasoned defenseman, which we talked about. When we brought in Markstrom, like that was the next move, was to bolster up that defense, and it appears we're doing that.
Yep.
We're bolstering up the defense, and I'll take it.
You have a lot of people are like, well, we're missing that last piece, that bottom six defensive defenseman. We talked about Tanev, but obviously Tanev just signed an extension. Am I wrong about this? He signed the extension with the Maple Leafs.
Toronto.
So he's gone off the board. You have Zardev is out there. There's a couple names that are out there that you can fill that bottom six pairing with. But you might have just done that with the trade that you just made too. So there's a possibility that they're trusting that as well.
Well, there's also rumors that the Devils are tied to a 6'4", 220-pound defenseman who last year registered 241 hits and 111 block shots.
I'll take block shots all day.
Brendan Dillon.
Brendan Dillon would
who you could sign a little bit older. He's 33. But this might be a nice person to sign for maybe a 2-year contract, 3-year contract, something a little bit shorter, where you can then have these developing defensemen not have their place taken. And I can do Predator quotes that Dylan!
Get to the chopper! Come on!
Dylan! Okay. Not only do we get Pesci, but we get we're Dylan writing as well.
You're writing all the material for the person that does a scoreboard. You know how they always have like those like weird things, like a plot party.
So you know what? So that just means how fast after we say it do the Devils steal it from us? That's going to be the thing.
It's already stolen. Somebody's with a notepad right now. We know you're out there.
Yeah. As soon as if they sign him, that gif of Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger clasping hands and their biceps, 100%. Like rah.
Yeah.
That we signed someone. The deal has been made.
Dylan! Pesci will be some kind of reference to Goodfellas, or hopefully not the one where he walks in the room, where he thinks he's about to get made. And then he goes.
No, not that one.
Like
we don't want that one.
And then they whack him. No, not that one.
And we have plenty of Joe Pesci show SNL references as well there too. Yeah.
So 100%.
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
100%. A lot of Pesci
with Brett, funny guy Pesci. Yeah.
So one of the things I was going to say before, and then I lost my train of thought when I was talking about all the wonderful things that are going on in the last week and a half, and that are continuing to go on, is the fact that we always talk about like the Panthers, how they're big and they bullied a lot of people around. They were very physical. They wore teams down. They wear you down in the boards, wear you down in the corners. They hit everything that moves. And this is all true. And the Panthers beat the hell out of, especially if you watched the Rangers series, like there's games where they just beat them to the point where in a third period, the Rangers were exhausted. And even in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals, Edmonton was rolling out the McDavid line, pretty much the entire game, but they had to because that was the line that was dominating the Panthers. And the reason why is that speed and finesse. The Devils could have something that is rare. They could have a combination of both physicality and speed and finesse. You could have your Jack Hughes, you could have your Jesper Bratt, you could have your Nico Hischier, who's also going to kind of bridge the gap by being that two-way center. You're going to have a lot of guys that are going to still have that finesse side to them. But then you're also going to have the grit. You're also going to have the size. The defensive side right now is shaping up to be just a bunch of monsters. So what I'm hoping that this team is going to accomplish is that balance. Now, don't forget they also still need to get a top six winger. That is something that should be priority tomorrow as well. And there's a couple of options with that too.
There's a couple options here, and maybe Fitzy has got some more things up his sleeve, because we've also heard about Mr. Steven Stamkos obviously not being in Tampa Bay anymore. Yeah. A lot of the rumors are that he's going to Nashville. We know the Nashville Predators are also looking for NHL ready players in exchange for a Mr. Askarov. So is there a possibility there of maybe someone from the Devils getting shipped down there? I know someone who probably wouldn't mind reuniting would be Palat. I think we would have to eat some of that contract, but it is what it is. There is also, with these defensive, and Palat's I'm just throwing that out there, but with these defensive signings, if you get a Dylan, if you get a Pesci, and with Kovacevic there, and DeSimone, and Nemec, and Luke, and Dougie, all of a sudden, Jonas Siegenthaler is expendable. Because he's going to be your bottom pairing. And his contract actually goes up this year.
Yes, Sam, you should buy a Palat jersey.
Buy a Palat jersey, Sam.
Pull it up online.
Yes, buy a
Pull it up online.
Yeah.
Pull it up online.
But you have this idea, that Siegenthaler is kind of expendable now. They've already gotten rid of one Swiss kid. We had the Swiss Miss connection there for a little bit. You got Timo locked up. You got Nico lined up. Siegs is someone who the Devils can now dangle out there as part of a package plan as an NHL-ready defenseman who is locked up, for the next, I think it's another 3 years. I know his contract goes up. I got to look at Cap Friendly here real quick before it gets shut down on us. Where is it? Cap Friendly. But I believe his contract goes up to $4 million this year. Let me just make sure before I shoot my mouth off. Siegenthaler, 27, 3.4, 3.4, 3.4, 3.4. So for the next 4 years, he's at 3.4 million, which that's an attractive amount for GMs. So Siegenthaler is. Oh, Tom said that. Tom said, "Okay, thank you, Tom."
Tom.
For getting
Tom's
the
about Sammy
jersey?
getting a Pally jersey.
Okay. I mean, think about that. If you eat a little bit of that contract,
do that too.
If you eat a little bit of that contract, and then if you trade Siegenthaler as well in a package, I mean, that opens up, close to another $7 million right there. And now that you've got Cotter, who's under $1 million, you got Kovacevic, who's under $1 million, by the way, on his cap hit. Do you see the Devils signing Nikita Zadorov? I do not, just because Zadorov wants a lot of money, and he wants a long-term deal. And I don't know if the Devils. I don't know if the Devils would have drafted.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you're going to go Pesci or you're going to go or him?
No, well, you're going to go Pesci, but I mean,
I think if you go Pesci, that's your long-term guy right there for defense.
Yeah.
Zadorov doesn't want like a 1 year, 2 year deal. He turned down the deal with Vancouver, right? I think they had him at like $6 or $7 million a year, and he turned that down to test free agency. So,
wow. Well, someone's going to pay for him. Someone's going to pay for him. That's for sure.
Someone will. Someone will.
Yeah.
Would he look nice on the team? Absolutely. But
can we?
Brendan Dillon would look nice next to Luke Hughes as well.
Can we take a second to just kind of acknowledge the fact that we have a GM who is not just active, but aggressively active, who looks at the team, sees his flaws in the team, doesn't say like maybe he was a little too patient with Lindy Ruff. Maybe there's certain things that he could tweak or do differently, but you could always sit there and talk about the what ifs, like coulda. 100%, like the Holtz thing that we're talking about before. Like, does it suck that Holtz ended up being where we are now? Should he have probably traded him before his stock crashed and before he went up there and made comments about basically the kid having no value? Yes, but I mean at the same time, like,
all the
oh no.
Hey,
you're back. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, no, but we gave Holtz all the chances in the world, which is, I think, all you can do. You gave him.
I think that Team Sweden thing sealed the deal. I think that's what shows you really, that there are some underlying issues with this kid. I wish him nothing but the best.
Mm-hmm.
I followed him on Instagram. I liked his posts and stuff like that. I thought he was a nice kid. Okay, I'm not trying to rag on him, but there was obviously something there that multiple coaching staffs had issues with. Yeah. That a GM actually actively went out there and kind of buried him in a press conference. That's not something you usually do if you're going to be looking to trade someone.
Yeah, and listen, I know. Brooke just said I wouldn't call benching someone all the chances in the world, but at the same time, like, you get benched for a reason. Like, you don't get benched. Like, yeah, there's a couple times where you went out there and you score a goal and stuff like that. But I mean, you have to look at his entire game. Like, these guys weren't benching it. Like, and Scotty brought it up way before. Like, you went from one coach to the next. So you went from Lindy Ruff to Green, and they both had pretty much the same opinion about him. Like, and Green did give him a shot when he first took over, but then it kindly fizzled out just as fast as when Lindy Ruff gave him a chance. So I think he made
Team
his own
Sweden
bet
did the same thing. Yeah.
And there you go. There you go. And then having
first
other teams pass on him,
the third
be like,
line off the team. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. Like, I was upset about it at first. I was like, what the hell? This is terrible. Blah, blah. But now I look back at it, and I think just the word is out around the league that this kid is just very one-dimensional. He's got a rocket shot, but his full game seems to be lacking.
And the one, not just with Holtz, but the one thing that we don't see is we don't see what happens in practice. We don't see how these kids skate in practice. We don't see what they do in the locker room. We don't see. We only see a quarter of what these players actually do when it comes time for the 60 minutes of the game. We just don't know what his attitude's like in the weight room. What's his attitude like off the ice? What's his attitude like at practice? What's his attitude like at meetings? Like, is he screwing around at meetings? Like, it's so much more than just what's the visible. Oh, he's on the bench again. Like, which, if he's on the bench, he's not going to have the opportunities on the ice. That's true. But, it seems to be like you earn yourself that place in the bench and you earn yourself that place in the press box. If it gets even further than that, I would love to see more behind the scenes so we can have a better idea, but from everything that's, that we know, there's probably more than just what we saw with his benchings.
Yeah. Hey, probably. Ramona and Tom are having a disagreement. Let's shake hands and call it a day. Everybody wants $9 million a year. No.
Natchez isn't going anywhere. Now that Gunsel is over there in Tampa Bay, Carolina's not letting him go.
Yeah,
I can tell you that right now.
And by the way, like, if that dude was asking for $9 million, which who knows if that were even the case when he like re-signed or restructured the contract, he's not worth $9 million. He's a 70-point player. He's not worth $9 million.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I just don't see Carolina now that they lost out on Gunsel that they're gonna let Natchez go. I just don't.
Yeah, no.
I just don't see that happening because they need firepower too.
Yeah, their team, and this is the one thing that makes me nervous about where we're at right now too. Because if you look at Carolina's window is crumbling. Carolina's window is starting to close really, really quick. They're starting to lose pieces that are important to the team. Now they have guys that Seth Jarvis. They have a bunch of guys that are solid. They're going to be fine. They're probably going to still be a playoff team. Are they going to be a team that can make a deep run? I don't know, but they're starting to lose some pretty key pieces. Now this is what happens. The Devils have to strike the iron where the iron's hot. You got guys like Jack Hughes making under 9. You have Nico Hischier making under 9, under 8 actually. You have important pieces to this team that are making just the perfect amount of money, but that will only last for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
exactly, because Luke Hughes is going to require at least $9 million to when he's up for a contract. If Nemec starts picking up his game and goes to the next level where he becomes the elite defenseman that we think he's going to be, guess what that's going to cost you? It's going to be around $9 million too, if not more. So I mean, these guys are going to start costing more, and yes, the cap goes up a little bit, but they have to figure this top 6 winger out, and they have to get this last couple pieces. This has to be one of those deep run years.
I think, with all this stuff that we're talking about here, it leads to the man who we've been talking about for quite some time up there in Ottawa, which is a team that we know is still kind of stuck in their rebuild, and they may be ready to part ways with their biggest prize,
with their captain,
and that would be one Brady Tkachuk.
Now, some will disagree because they just made the trade to get Ullmark, right? So they're tooling up their team, but to kind of go along with what you're saying.
Are they? Are they? Is like Ullmark really going to take them that whole way? Wouldn't Boston have kept him? Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
And by the way, Boston's in a kind of a sticky situation because Swayman and Boston have not figured out a way to agree to terms. I know he went to arbitration last year, and it is not looking good on that front.
And Ullmark's only signed through 1 year as a UFA after next season too.
Yeah.
So
that's not a long-term solution there for Ottawa. Ottawa is rebuilding. No. I see people saying Brady's going to want to go to Florida. Man, they don't got money because they're going to have to re-sign Reinhart.
Yeah,
and he's gonna cost a lot of money. So you can put that one out of the picture. Brady
Ottawa only has 13 players currently signed to their roster.
Yeah.
They only have 13 players to their roster right now.
Well, they can have. Well, I'll tell you what.
He's.
I'm
just gonna go.
Brady Tkachuk. Okay, you have a lot of guys now on this team that are going to be very attractive to a team like the Ottawa Senators. I don't want to say it because we all want to buy him a beer, but Dawson Mercer is someone that the Ottawa Senators would be very interested in. A Siegenthaler would be someone that they're probably interested in. A Nolan Foote to get some of that grit back would be someone they would probably be interested. I hate to say it as well, but a Shimon Nemec is someone that they would definitely be interested in.
Yeah.
Now, with you having Nemec and Casey now signing his professional contract and starting to work his way into the AHL, does that mean that you can possibly move a Nemec, who, by the way, let me just see this real quick. Just hang on 1 second. Who also, oh, wait, no, he's got 2 years left. So Luke has got 1 year left, and he's an RFA. Nemec has got 2 years left, which would make him even more valuable to an Ottawa Senators team.
Yeah, but listen, if you're giving up Nemec, I'm not giving you Mercer as well. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not giving you Mercer and Nemec. And a lot of people were like, well, look at what happened. Look at what you had to give up to get Matthew Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk is one hell of a hockey player. I think Matthew is a lot better. I think Matthew Tkachuk is a tier above his brother. That with saying this, I've been saying since the middle of last year, before the trade deadline last year, that Brady Tkachuk would be the perfect fit for this team. In fact, we'll rewind even further. When Matthew Tkachuk was still on the Calgary Flames, and I said, man, and we're going into the summer 3 years ago now, I said Matthew Tkachuk was the perfect fit for the New Jersey Devils. This is pre-Timo Meier, all that kind of stuff. That kind of player, that kind of grit, that kind of physicality, that kind of scoring, that kind of just the bloodline that this kid is the perfect fit for this team. Brady Tkachuk. And I will say it until, and I know people are like, oh, stop saying it. I will say it until they either Tom Fitzgerald calls me personally and tells me it's never going to happen, or it just, he signs an extension until he's dead with the Ottawa Senators, or he gets traded somewhere else.
Well, here's the other thing as well. We just went and, drafted 2 goaltenders. So now you can also look at Poulter, Brennan, Nico Dawes being a part of this package, that you can possibly send out there. And I'm not saying, Mercer or Nemec or whatever, but of the guys on our roster who they're going to be calling about, those 2 names are going to be top of the list. If you send both of them, I think it gets the deal done right off the bat like that.
Yeah, well.
But if you do one and then try to package the other, let me tell you, having a first line of Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, and Jesper Bratt, and a second line of Hughes, Haula, and Brady Tkachuk is going to slaughter teams out there.
My gosh.
God,
that is going to – and do you imagine Jack, the room he's now going to have because he's got a monster named Brady Tkachuk there running around protecting him?
And then Tkachuk will absolutely drop the gloves if Jack gets any more
in a heartbeat
against him. And that, I think, is worth its weight in gold right there.
Yeah.
Because Jack got thrown around the last couple of years. And if Brady Tkachuk is out there to prevent that, or if Brady Tkachuk is out there at all, that'll make teams go, let's not do that anymore to Jack. Because now they know they can get away with it. Brady Tkachuk's out there with them. That's a different story.
Exactly.
And that's one of the gigantic pluses, but he's also not going to be a detriment on your team. He's not going to be a scoring vacuum where you put him on the ice. He's not going to put up points. He's going to go
to those dirty areas and create more room for Jack Hughes.
I think it's going to cost you a lot. I definitely think it's going to cost you a lot. It's going to be a monster trade if it happens. It is going to be one of those things that if it happens, you're going to, like you said, you're going to have to say goodbye to somebody that you don't want to say goodbye to.
Well, Brooke apparently is throwing one of her kidneys into the deal as well here. So, I mean, put that into the mix.
Part of her liver too. Part of the liver too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Brooke.
Brooke, for contributing. Very nicely done. The Devils. But my whole point is the Devils have the means to go out there and get a deal done. Maybe you are able to move a Mercer, Siegenthaler, one of those goalies. You'd probably have to add a draft pick in there too.
I would throw in Dawes because he would be the most tempting, and that's another thing. Dawes is a guy that I don't want to get rid of, but guess what?
Brady Tkachuk.
Brady freaking Tkachuk.
Tkachuk.
That's what he's going to do.
He's going to be trucking everyone. Yeah.
I'm going to speak this into existence too.
Sam? Oh no, Sam! Yes, go buy an Ottawa Senators Brady Tkachuk jersey right now, Sam. Go buy a Brady Tkachuk jersey.
The moment that the Devils trade for Brady Tkachuk tomorrow, when it happens, when the news breaks, you will hear a scream echoing from this fine state of New Jersey that you've never heard
from
before.
All of New Jersey.
You know what?
And then the echo from California, me. Just
a Beer Baron. Hey, Beer Baron. Yeah. And then you're able to go live alone tomorrow and just read receipts, just like Sam Wu would do.
Yeah,
just
100%.
You'll just go on
Tarp
a rant.
Off.
Yeah, you're gonna do the Stephen Austin slamming beers and chugging beers in front of everybody,
clapping the beers.
And we just mentioned it too. Like, these guys are all RFAs, which makes them that more valuable, to Ottawa. So it's going to be a tough decision, but would you? I mean, I'll say this: if it does happen to be Mercer who gets traded, not that I'm saying that I want him to get traded or anything like that, but if Mercer gets traded, I love DM. We've had so much fun with him with the buy me a beers and stuff like that for a couple years. But just look at it this way: if Mercer goes in some sort of trade, all 3 of those first round picks will be shipped out the door already from that super deep draft. Muhammadulin, Holtz, Mercer is the only one left on the team.
Wow, I didn't even think of that. Wow. Thanks for putting that nugget in my head.
So you're saying that out of that draft, assuming that Tkachuk is part of the deal for Mercer, you basically got Meyer and Tkachuk.
Yeah.
And Cotter out of the deal.
Yeah.
Essentially. That's a pretty good damn deal.
It's a good haul.
That's a pretty good deal. Listen, boys, one can only hope, right? One can only hope. And I will go to bed tonight and I will wish upon a star and I'll say my prayers and I'll drink my milk and I'll do whatever I have to do to make that happen. But I'm telling you, and the first purchase I will make is that $450 Fanatics. No, I won't. I'll get that.
No, you won't. It's not going to show up till 2 years from now.
Hey, remember when I sent links to everybody saying buy these jerseys now, they're cheap.
Yeah.
Told you.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Told you.
It's very true.
I warned you. I said do this now, and no one listened to me. No one listens to Shorts Guy.
Well, we've covered all. Yeah, you went to Cool Hockey.
Yeah,
right?
I went to coolhockey.com. Yeah. Still haven't received my Marino jersey yet, but that's okay.
There you go. But we've covered a lot here, and there's a lot of potential. Now, obviously, Brady Tkachuk would be hitting that home run. Somehow stealing Askarov from the Predators would do that as well. But the most important thing is the Devils have the pieces to make this happen. And Tom Fitzgerald, by this draft and the trades that he made, seems dead set on making this team a hell of a lot tougher to play against, and who's going to go out there and be able to stand up to all of these Eastern Conference teams. We know out West it could be a little bit different, a little more finesse, but in the East, you got to grind it out. Mm-hmm. And you got to win those battles along the boards. You got to forecheck like a mother, and you need to be able to hit people and take some hits at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It started with bringing in Big Mac, who we know is still going to be around. Obviously, he's not going to be playing 82 games next season. But you started to see the little change in philosophy from when it was just small, speedy, go. Now, all of a sudden, it's beef and skating and forechecking. And Tom Fitzgerald seems set on morphing this team and to be able to provide protection for your Jack Hugheses, your Jesper Bratts, your Nico Hischers. These guys have been missing it for a long time. Next year, they're going to be able to go out there and skate and not have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to that situation.
And it's going to free up all those speedy forwards like Jack and Bratt because, eventually you're going to wear down your opponent. And then with all the block shots and hitting in the defensive zone and then the transition up the ice. It's
up-tempo game.
Yeah, it's going to make it very, very interesting because I think
Sheldon
times.
All right, so
yeah, we didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about the Sheldon Keefe side of it,
Here we go. So for reference, and I'll be curious to see how much this changes. The New Jersey Devils for last season, average height, like the height average for the team was 6'2", and the average weight was 199.
Oh, that's going up. That's going up.
And I'm curious what that's going to go up by because we brought in a lot of heavy hitters over the last 48 hours. So 6'2". I mean, we were not the shortest. The shortest was, it looks like the Minnesota Wild at 6 foot. I was surprised that we were even at 6'2" as our average height. But I'd be curious to see what our average height is going to be going forward. What we're going to be in a couple days come the start of the season, too.
It's going to be exciting. And it all starts tomorrow. Free agency frenzy. Then we're going to have the schedule released. And you know we're going to have
that I'm looking forward to. That I'm looking forward
definitely.
to. Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna have it all covered for you. And Serve, don't worry about it. If Jack can't hoist the cup over his head, now he's got plenty of muscle-bound dudes that'll help him out. So they'll pick him up on his shoulders and skate him around.
Pick Jack up.
Seriously. It's
don't worry about it at all.
Hug. Yeah,
it's a good thing that it's a good thing Nico gets it first, and then he can hand it over to Jack while he's already got his hands up, and they can support his arms.
But yeah, we're gonna have it completely covered for you here on the Let's Go Devils podcast network. We'll be doing specials tomorrow for free agency first day. The Hockey on Tap crew with Shorts Guy here. I know they're going to be touching on things, and then we're going to be looking for some breaking news podcasts, and then maybe a big wrap up at the end of the night, and then probably Tuesday as well. Once the schedule gets released, we'll start going over that. As long as Sam Wu has his sanity, we will make that happen for you here on the Let's Go Devils podcast network. Should we hit into final thoughts?
I say we do it. Let's do it.
My final thought is thank you, Fitzy, for watching the playoffs and realizing what this team needs to do to actually be competitive and not just actually get trounced by some of these teams like the Boston Bruins or the Florida Panthers. Because we know this team has the offensive ability to make the playoffs, but the defense has been lacking, the toughness has been lacking, and the goaltending has been lacking. And he's been doing a good job because you know what? After this, if it didn't happen again, it's on him. I feel like Fitzy's a little bit on that old hot seat there. And I think he realizes he needs to make some changes. And good for him for going out there doing it, even as many of us questioned his move with Holtz. I think we're all going to be really nicely surprised with Cotter and everything that he brings. When he's out there just pummeling people and putting up 200 plus hits, I think we're all going to appreciate that very much.
Yeah. My final thoughts are Brady Tkachuk. I'll add more. No, my thoughts are tomorrow's going to be an exciting day. You want to hear something crazy, and I'm not going to read off all the names, but you could probably sit there as a Devils fan. You could sit there and you could put this together in your own head. A couple of years ago, 2 years ago to be exact, the Devils set a franchise record for wins. What I want you to do is I want you to sit down and I want you to look at that roster, and then I want you to think about all the players that are not on this roster anymore. That was a half of them. Franchise-setting record team. They won won one round of the playoffs, and yes, they did lose a couple guys to unrestricted free agency. But at the same time, think about how many guys are not on the team from that team. This is going to be a brand new Devils team. This is going to be a big, mean, nasty, fast, attacking. I can't wait to see what Sheldon Keefe does with this because it's going to have, like I said, balance. I think this is going to – I feel like the Devils are going to set the tone for what the new NHL is going to look like. You need the grit, you need the size, you need the toughness, but you also need the speed, and you need the scoring. And they have a little bit of both. So it's going to be fun to watch how they put it all together. And tomorrow, it's going to be exciting.
There you go. My final thought is I'm pretty happy about what happened over the last 48 hours, and but I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I'm getting together with the Hot Pod guys, and we're going to watch the opening of free agency together. We're going to have a good time. We're going to probably make fun of each other in our teams, so make sure you boys check out the group chat because it's probably going to come pretty fast and heavy throughout the course of the day. So, and you know what? Maybe we'll go live occasionally here throughout the day tomorrow, if possible. If Sam and his Sam sanity isn't lost over the course of the day, we may break into some breaking news podcast tomorrow. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never
But
know.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow for just the excitement of free agency, but to hang out with some really good friends as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and happy 4th of July, everyone.
Yes.
And Canada Day.
Canada Day tomorrow, 4th of July on Thursday. Yeah, it's a good time.
And early birthday for Shorts Guy.
Oh, thank you,
happy early birthday for Shorts Guy.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you. Hey. It's going to be a good time this week. I'm looking forward to it.
My final thought, I think it was you and I, Scotty, on Devils After Dark, maybe 4 years ago. I think it's 4 years ago. Coming out of the pandemic, when there were no crowds in the arenas, that I was like fed up one night, and I'm like, it'll be 2025, and this team needs beef, for crying out loud. We're a bunch of wimps. And it's great that Fitzy is not one of those GMs where his ego's so big or be stubborn and keep with players like Alexander Holtz and for too long. He recognized after the season and in that press conference after the season was over that we are going to get bigger, meaner, we're going to get goaltending, and changes were going to be made. And so far he's making good on that promise. Whether the results are going to be what we want, that remains to be seen, but at least on paper right now, it looks like it's headed in the right direction, because night after night on Devils After Dark, the Devils would be out-hit by at least 20 or 30 hits.
It's not even a joke.
Yeah. So
no, it was bad. It was really bad.
So the Devils are no longer the hunted. They're going to be the hunter. And with size and with the core four, with speed offensively, and Fitzy's not done, a lot can happen in the next few days, and I hope you keep it here. So that's all I really have to say.
One real.
Thank you, thank you, R. Nunez, for the Happy Shorts Day wish. Appreciate that.
There you go.
Really,
and just keep like, follow, and subscribe, because that way you'll get the alerts for tomorrow when we do decide to go live when we're going to do it. Boom.
The Surrey Eagles and their GM, Scott Gomez, their GM and head coach, Scott Gomez, had just announced that they will hire Jim Dowd, former New Jersey Devil and Stanley Cup champion, will now be the Surrey Eagles head scout in the East Coast of the United States.
And a good friend of the podcast. You forgot that one.
That's
from Brick, true. New Jersey.
Yes.
Ooh, and Tyler Bertuzzi will become a UFA tomorrow. That's an interesting name.
Tomorrow's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's not Ted, I don't think he's coming
right now. Nothing.
There's the music.
There it is.
Well, guys, great podcast. Thank you to everybody tuning in. A lot of live viewers right now on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and X Live. I don't know about Twitch. I haven't looked at that channel in years. But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, just about. And have a fun day, folks. Till next time, let's go Devils.